ESPN Radio. This is the Thundering Herd Podcast.
We're going to play a game of voicemail poker. We'll get to it in a second, but because Vince says he got a...
Yeah, he started this game.
He did start the game, so he's going to set it up for us, and we'll see who has the best...
Threw down pocket aces, too.
I don't know if he threw down... I don't know if he threw down pocket aces. He's got a good hand. I'm not certain it's pocket aces, but we'll let the audience decide. I know Stanzik doesn't have pocket aces, that's for sure.
I got a strong hand. I'll just tease that.
You just got an interesting text, did you not?
Yeah, this could be a pretty solid showing, too. We were just talking about Tiger and his caddy, Joe LaCava, is a good buddy of mine. We played golf a couple times.
Yes.
He said, don't count my man out.
All right.
So I'm with him.
Well, I mean, it seems like you're counting him out.
I want to see it done. Because I think we saw him do it in the PGA Tour previously. We've seen him win. We've seen glimpses of it now.
Sure.
But I think more now than ever, it's mental with Tiger. Like, he's got to get over that hump, which is crazy to say how far he's fallen and what a struggle it is for him right now. It's just head-scratching. And every golf analyst that you're on TV does really not have an explanation for it. Right. Like, you can't look at a mechanics thing and say that's the reason. Because he goes out there and does it well on the range and does it well in practice rounds and doesn't do it on the, when it counts.
Golfer of the year 2 years ago. I just refuse to believe a guy that talented. Listen, it's you and I play all the time, Danny. And I'm not putting us, comparing us to guys on the PGA Tour. But it is, I mean, you have stuff on your mind, it could screw up the game. It could screw up the round. It really does. And it's funny because you'll, at least for me, I can have a clear head, a clear mind for 9 holes. Then I get a text from someone on the course. Yeah. And also my mind starts racing, and all of a sudden I'm not playing as well. So it's a very mental, for those who haven't played and haven't played a lot, there's a lot of...
And think about this, because I mentioned this slightly yesterday, but when I was a starting quarterback in the NFL for a cup of coffee.
Right.
And when you are a person of fame, and I'm not even trying to equate anywhere near, it was infinitesimal compared to what Tiger Woods was.
Sure.
But when you walk around, when you walk through the stadium, when you walk around to go to dinner, when you go everywhere you go, if you're a known person, people talk about you and they don't think that you hear them, but you can. Like, words travel farther than you can. Mm-hmm. Like, people would say, man, you could hear them, he's bigger than he's on TV, or, man, I didn't know he was that big, or man, that was a horrible interception he threw. Like, it works both ways. So for Tiger, for all this time and earlier in his career, people were talking about his dominance, saying, man, this guy has dominated. Nobody can beat him. Look, they're all scared of him. That's the types of words and things that come to mind when he was walking. He would hear those things. Now you've had a complete 180. Sure. And people are saying things like, man, where is he gone? When's he going to come back?
Right.
That doubt now has replaced all those positive reinforcements, which I think is a big part of it.
I told you yesterday, I heard Tarico, how he was walking around kind of the village there around St. Andrews, and he said he never thought he'd hear something like this in his life, but people were mocking Tiger Woods, making jokes about Tiger Woods. And
I promise you, like, that you try to insulate yourself from that. I mean, like, I remember I was a mental basket case. Like, I couldn't hear anything. I would try not to read newspapers. I would try not to listen to the radio.
Right.
But you're bound to hear it. It's just going to happen.
When athletes and coaches say they don't listen to the media, they don't read the tabloids.
Well, now it's worse than ever because I think we've changed. Like, you got LeBron who's rabbit ears. I mean, he's paying attention to everything people are saying.
Right.
And guys are using it as motivation. More than ever, guys are tuned into what the media is saying.
Then there are guys like Steve Spurrier, who's going to join us today at 11:30, who I promise you ain't reading any of it. Like, he's not following. He's not doing anything on Twitter. He don't care. Spurrier does not care. That's what I love about
don't know.
Spurrier.
I want to ask him because I think he's pushing buttons on purpose. Like, I think he does care and he's pushing buttons.
No, see, Spurrier's kind of like the anti-Gruden, I guess. He's not the guy getting in. He's not spending days at a time in the office and looking over. He's playing golf. Right. That's exactly what he's doing. He's playing golf. All right, Vince, so let's play this game here, okay? Who's got the most impressive? I think the game we're playing is who has the most impressive voicemail on their phone.
Before we get to the voicemails, can I just say you're either getting really, really comfortable or you're getting really, really shorter because I know now your posture is horrible. So you are sliding down. We need to bring in a couch so you can just lounge.
Listen, man. What we do for a living is I'm grateful for it. It's huge fun, and I like to relax when I'm doing it. Thank you.
On the voicemail.
So I'm just chilling. I'm in a very comfortable spot right here, and I don't want to move. And plus, I tweaked my back a little bit yesterday. today, and it just like this feels right. This feels right.
After the massage.
Those beds over that DoubleTree, man, not good. The cookies, fantastic. The bed's not so good.
The warm cookies.
I had 5 cookies last night.
All right, let's get to. I want to hear the video poker. What's voicemail poker?
All right, so Vince, set it up because you came storming into the studio during one of our breaks, and you were raving about a voicemail that you have on your phone. It was a recent voicemail in the last week, right? I can't hear Vince.
I can't hear Vince either. There we go.
There we go.
And
I wonder why, Vince.
Yeah, really.
Not taking very many of them, so letting them go to voicemail, and didn't recognize the number, so when I dialed the number back, this is what I heard.
Hey, this is Mike Krzyzewski, Coach K at Duke.
That's pretty impressive.
So I'm going to be keeping that one on my phone, and I just asked you guys, what's the best voicemail you have?
All right, well, let's first establish. So Vince has a recent voicemail from Coach K on his phone, okay?
That's really cool.
I don't want to say it's pocket aces. Okay?
It's strong. It's a strong hand.
It is a very strong hand, but I mean...
Like, would you be willing to go all in right now?
Yeah, I don't know who's topping that.
All right, but you don't know what I have on my phone. You don't know what Kanell has on his phone. I mean, Kanell's a former NFL quarterback at Florida State. He is dialed in. He knows a lot of people. Like
that's why I feel confident.
All right, let's go to Stanzik first before we.
All right, yeah, I'm paying extra to see the flop here. 2009, I got a voicemail from Scott Rowland after he'd been traded from the Toronto Blue Jays to the St. Louis Cardinals. A friend of mine from college knew his nanny, and he called and it was like, I didn't know there were Toronto Blue Jay fans, and said, pretty much, see you later.
You are ripping in with a 2-4.
I'm winning it, I'm paying to see the flop here. Right. Someone raised free flop, and I called.
Wait, has anything happened on your voicemail since 2009?
I don't think anyone's called me since Scott Rowland in 2009.
That's the best you got.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's pretty impressive.
Oh, God, that is
What do you
funny.
got?
What do you want to ask John? Let's John first.
I'm probably disqualified.
Okay.
It's on my old phone. I don't have it on my new phone, but on my old phone I was producing a local radio show, and it's 2008. I have a voicemail from Bill Cosby.
Wow.
That's strong.
But you're not,
I don't have the evidence. So.
You don't have the evidence.
Oh, well, that's understood. I don't have evidence either.
I do have a picture with
my word
on my computer.
But we just have to take your word. You have a picture of what? I don't know. What do you?
Me and Bill Cosby together.
You do. Wow.
I don't have evidence.
Probably delete that at this stage. So but you're claiming you have a voicemail on an old phone from Bill Cosby.
Yes.
I gotta tell you, it's pretty strong right there. I mean, certainly beats Stanzik, but anything beats Stanzik. I mean, I'm certain my wife has voicemails that would beat Stanzik. I would think. I mean, Scott Rowland, 2009, man. How old was Rowland?
He was the next Mike Schmidt. Come on, they loved him in Philly.
He was the next Mike Schmidt, all right. Scott Rowland, 2009. All right, so Danny, before we get to ours, of the 3, who do you think is winning right now?
All right, if they have
because I think he just knocked out Vince with
I don't
Bill
know.
Cosby.
I think if you have the percentages that are coming up, like whose hand is going to win right now,
right?
I think Johnny Lawrence is probably at a 53%.
Okay.
I think Vince is like at a 41%.
Right. America loves me. Come on,
is it like a 3%? Like everybody's begging him to fold right now.
Right. They do that on poker covers. They do that with the percentages.
Yeah. That's why I said it.
Right. The Chris Christie of this election. All right. So we got Roland. I can't even say it with a straight face. All right, Stanzik's out. Okay, he's lost.
All right, he's done.
We've got Cosby. We've got Coach K. What do you got? I feel like I have the winner. But,
you do?
Well, I felt like I had the winner until he had Bill Cosby.
All right.
We got to go quick here because we got Zach Johnson.
All right, so mine is actually from 1996.
Wow.
I'm going way back.
Okay.
I was going through the draft process and had not selected an agent yet. And
okay.
I was in college at Florida State. And I get back home one night at like 2:30 in the morning. Had a night out with a couple of my buddies.
Right.
And there was, as soon as you do in college, you come back to see if there are any voicemails. You want to see and this is the answering machine, so this goes way back.
Sure.
So we go back and there's like 8 messages. We're trying to see if there are any, late night calls or anything of the such. And all of a sudden we get through and there's one from Joe Montana.
Wow. Joe
Montana called, was soliciting his agency for me to sign with. And the best part about it is that
pretty cool, Danny.
My buddy, my roommate at the time, we were debating on whether we call him back. at 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, I absolutely would have.
But he didn't leave his number, but we did star 69 it.
Right.
So we did try to find it, but I talked to him. He was dialing, like he was ready to go to call Joe Montana at 2:30 a.m.
Right.
I refused to let him do it. But I do not have evidence.
It's pretty good.
But Joe Montana's pretty strong.
I mean, percentage of people in the audience who knows what star 69 is, I'm not certain. Like, the younger generation has no idea, right?
No clue.
idea what star 69 is.
None.
So you got Montana. I still feel like John has the hand right now with Bill Cosby. All right, we got Zach Johnson. No, I'll reveal mine quickly, okay? We asked Danny to be quick, but he wasn't. I'll reveal mine quickly. I have a voicemail from Flea of the Red Hot Chili Peppers with a Lakers rant, and it's within the last month. He didn't ask me anything.
I think I'm back in the mix here.
Want more of the herd? The Thundering Herd Podcast.
Zach Stugotz and Danny Kanell here in Bristol, Connecticut. Congratulations. How you doing today?
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm doing all right, trying to get somewhat remotely acclimated back to the States, but I'm doing really good.
How much sleep last night, Zach?
Maybe an hour on the flight, and maybe. And I think I had an hour here before my kids woke me up, which is exactly what I wanted.
I was looking at some tweets that were sent out by the PGA Tour and looking at your career, and I'm a golf fan and even didn't realize how much success you've had already. 12 wins. I knew it was your second major. Are you the most underrated golfer on the PGA Tour?
That phrase has probably been thrown at me a few times here and there. I don't have any idea. I mean, to me, those kinds of terms or labels, I think, and no offense, because, but I think it's kind of media driven, I mean, I just know I do what I do, and if that label hits me at some point, so be it. The way I see it is, I really don't mind it, truthfully, if that is the case. And more so just because, I like having my back against the wall. I like being the guy that's the underdog, the one that's not supposed to win. I don't feel like there's whatever pressure might be there that whether it's my own pressure I put on myself or outside pressure, to me it's almost eliminated. I can just go play free golf.
You're one of the nice guys on tour. I mean, your reputation is stellar. Even now, you're apologizing for one of your comments, which was not offensive at all. And we were talking earlier in the show about, Jordan Spieth and kind of the rise of golfers that are not marketable because they don't have an edge to them. Is it a good thing for the PGA Tour that you have guys that are, quote, nice guys that are turning to be the face of the tour?
Well, yeah, I've looked at it a number of different ways. I mean, first of all, I think it goes back to the foundation of the game, probably what's in the fabric of the game. It's a gentleman's game. And I think with that, there's ideals, there's values, and there's, probably a mental perspective that you got to kind of have to participate and play in that. I get it's probably not the sexiest thing or even the, maybe what a lot of fans like to see in sports because there is an entertainment value associated. I get that. However, it is competition. It is a gentleman's game. It is a game. It's not, it's not like it's anything more than just a game. However, it's a great game, and I think there's a lot of weight and gravity to that, and I think going back to what you said, having some of these young kids, like you mentioned, obviously Jordan's the one that sticks out. I know most people are probably cheering for Jordan. Heck, if I wasn't playing, I would be too, because he's a great kid,
right.
and a phenomenal talent, but an even better person off the golf course.
Zach Johnson, Open Championship winner, with us here on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Put us in the celebration last night. What happened? How'd you celebrate, Zach?
Well, being truthfully honest with you guys, I got on a plane as quickly as possible.
Right.
And Jordan Spieth and Billy Horschel, Jason Duffner, Jimmy Walker, Harris English, and a bunch of others, my wife, clearly, and some other friends and family, my caddy, Damon Green, were all on the plane, and we just had a good time together. I mean, I know that sounds really strange, but we're a close-knit group, It kind of goes back to it. I mean, looking back, granted, it's been kind of a blur since yesterday, I guess afternoon here, but evening for me. Jordan came out on the 18th green, and then I got to see some other friendly faces there, competitors and friends of mine. So, we're all in it together. I mean, we get the magnitude of it. We get what everybody puts into it. coming home with those kind of guys, and they're friends of mine. Guys that I'm cheering for if I'm not playing, and guys you want to beat, but yet you know what, they want to beat you too. So it's a pretty cool, relationship.
Zach, we got under a minute. We've been playing a game of voicemail poker. I think you might have the best hand. What was the best voicemail or text you received, and congratulations? Who was the coolest person you heard from?
Well, man, I haven't gone through all my texts yet. But, okay. I'm not embellishing this. The coolest has been from my kids. The video messages from my kids. That's the best. I mean,
all right, after the kids.
You got to remember.
After the kids, we got less than 30 seconds. After the kids, okay?
After the kids,
yes.
Oh, man, I don't even know how I could pick one here.
Whoa!
It's hard. It's hard to pick one.
Drop the mic.
How about Obama? Did Obama reach out to you?
No. The president has not reached out.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
So we were discussing voicemails. We were playing a game, Zach. Voicemail poker. Who has the most impressive voicemail on their phone? One of our producers has one from 2009 from Scott Rowland. That's not the winning hand. I'm assuming that you probably have the winning hand, and now you've had some time to actually think about our question.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, Scott Rowland's a good one. I'm actually a Cards fan somewhat, so I got one from Matt Holliday and Adam Wainwright. Waino is a neighbor of mine here on St. Simon's Island, so that was nice. But I might have had dinner last week with a couple other peers of mine and Will Ferrell, so that would be my
really strong.
That's my trump.
What do you mean you might have? What are you doing there?
Yeah, just saying.
That's a humble brag. That's a humble brag right there. I like it. I'm impressed. You mentioned the plane ride home with all the other PGA Tour guys riding back together. I'm sure there was a lot of celebrating and good time. But I'm curious because anytime I'm done with a round with a couple of my buddies who hack it around, we're talking about certain pin placements. We're talking about how the course played, the greens. Are you guys talking at all about the course or the conditions, or is it all, hey, everything golf is in the rearview mirror?
No, there was a little bit of that. I mean, it was a long flight, so yeah, there's a lot of discussion. There's a little bit of that. I mean, you're talking about certain shots, and I mean, because I really don't know what Jordan did or any of those guys did for that matter coming in. I mean, I got to the practice range trying to prepare. Mentally, for the eventual playoffs. So I really didn't see what was going on. But yeah, I mean, we kept it loose, and that sort of thing. I mean, you guys may not be surprised, but I think most people would be surprised how, Jordan, I'm sure he's upset, and he should be upset, but yet just how level-headed and how just cool he was about getting over it and moving on, because he's just got that innate ability mentally to stay in the now more or less and fixate on trying to get the work done, and then his next time he's back out, he'll be at it again, and my guess is he'll be right in the thick of it because he's playing great golf.
We had Jordan on right after he won the Masters, and he told us stories of his friends trying on the green jacket, and there was some drinking going on. Was there any of that going on the plane on the ride home last night?
Well, the claret jug might be suited for that kind of, arena, if you will.
What was the drink of choice in the claret jug?
You're celebrating with family and friends. It's a natural thing. I mean, there was nothing crazy. I will be honest. I mean, there's nothing out of the ordinary, but we just enjoyed our time. And what's cool is I'm sitting there with really good friends of mine and guys that were trying to beat me, and I'm trying to beat them, and they can all take a little bit of piece and a part in what was going on.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I think the lasting image from this Open Championship, Zach, will be your reaction to hitting that putt on the 18th hole. Can you kind of walk us through that putt? What was going through your mind there?
Are you talking about in regulation?
Yeah, in regulation, yes.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, first of all, I made a pretty poor bogey on 17, so I was not exactly happy about that. I figured if I could get in at 15, you'd have a chance. 14, I just didn't think would do it. That was pretty evident. And, I didn't exactly have the shortest of putts, but I had a great read from the guy I was playing with, Danny Willett, and, it was one of those, I'm like, I got the read, I just got to hit it. Just make sure you get it there, and last week at the John Deere, I had a putt on 18 to what would have got me into a playoff, and I'm like, just hit a good putt. This one might go in. And, it's one of those you dream about as a kid. I mean, the ones I dream about as a kid are usually 4-footers, not 25 feet.
Right.
But, it still found the bottom of the cup. I didn't even see my caddy, Damon, do his chicken dance or whatever you call that thing. But,
it was amazing, Zach. It was amazing.
That's his forte. Yeah, he's got a lot of rhythm. That's clear.
When I said the lasting image, I didn't mean your reaction. I meant his reaction.
well, like I said, I've seen it on the replay now, and I hate to say it, but I'm kind of used to it.
Zach Johnson, Open Championship winner with us here on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline, ESPN Radio. Stugotz, Danny Kanell, in for Colin Cowherd. I want to go to the playoff for just a second because it was kind of interesting to watch. Danny and I are both big golfers, and so, you have to make decisions like this on the course. Obviously, we're not comparing the decisions we have to make to the ones that you have to make. But on that 17th playoff hole, you had to pitch over the roadside bunker. I heard you discussing with your caddy that there was a second option. Rather than going over the bunker, maybe you were going to go to the left and just take a bogey there. What were you thinking there? What was the thought process, and why'd you end up going straight over the bunker there?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, it's one. I mean, as a competitor, you're like, I can hit that shot. I mean, I can hit this shot, and the lie wasn't exactly ideal. It was extremely tight, compact ground, and 20/20 hindsight, should I have done it? I don't know. I probably still would have tried to do it. I don't think I executed it appropriately. I think I still could have got it within, at least within 15, 20 feet. But, going left was an option. I just didn't want to, say, hey, I want to concede a bogey. That was the last thing I wanted to do in that situation with a one-shot lead. I felt like I had a little bit of, cushion there, and I could be somewhat remotely aggressive. So, it was one of those situations where, those are the shots that we practice, even though they're difficult. And, it didn't come out great. I maybe got even a little bit lucky. Obviously, I didn't get down to the car path of the road there. But, a good up and down for 5, and I was very happy.
Yeah, your decisions, I think, are slightly more important than whether we should press when we're down 2 in a $5 Nassau. Tell me, how hard is it for you? Because we saw this outpouring of emotion when you won, understandably so. It's an amazing accomplishment. But how hard is it to kind of keep those emotions at bay when you're in a playoff, realizing, hey, you're only 2 other guys you have to beat to get there, and you're that close to pulling it off?
Well, it's one of those situations. I mean, it's certainly why you practice. It's why you prepare both mentally, physically, technically. So, I relish those opportunities and those times. I mean, I think we all do as athletes. We savor those moments because they're few and far between. But it's hard to be in that position. It's hard to get there. It's hard to win or hard to be in contention, let alone. So, mentally, I felt fresh. I felt great. I mean, I felt like, whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. I felt like, I put all I could into it, and, the execution was there for the most part. If something goes my way, I mean, I'll accept it. At the same time, I could accept the other side of it. I mean, I've been on both sides of the coin, and, like I said, I mentioned it probably yesterday a couple times. I don't like seeing a golf tournament end on a missed putt. I mean, that's the last thing you want to see as a fan and as certainly as a competitor. But fortunately for me, I played well enough prior to that to put myself in that position. And, as a result, I was awarded the jug. So, it was gut wrenching. It was fantastic. It was a rush. It was, all the nerves, all the emotions you can imagine, all rolled into one, and then it kind of comes out at the end.
Right. Well, it was nice.
It's like a slobbering mess.
Yeah, well, it was nice to see, though. It was raw emotion. It was nice to see. Man, you've won at Augusta and you've won at St. Andrews. So now that you've had time to kind of absorb that and think about it, can you put that into perspective for us? I mean, you've won at 2 of the iconic courses, maybe the 2 most legendary courses in the world.
Yeah, I don't know if I can yet. I mean, I got to be honest. It's, it's mind-boggling to me. It's humbling to me, certainly. But yeah, you're talking about 2 of the greatest stages in golf, let alone and even sports, as far as I'm concerned. as a kid growing up in Iowa and now living in Southeast Georgia, it's their dreams realized. It's hard work realized. But I think in all that, more than that, it's really just a token as to how many good people I have surrounding me that helped me get in that position, because it is an individual game as far as what we're seeing, for those 3 or 4 seconds on television each shot. However, it's a team game.
You're getting emotional. All right, you need to do what Spieth did, all right, because he put the green jacket next to the U.S. Open trophy. Now you have a green jacket and a claret jug. I expect a picture to be tweeted out shortly, okay, Zach?
Well, I don't have the green jacket. It's actually in Augusta, so
okay,
I'd like to get that back.
Right.
However, how about the Wanamaker trophy? How about that one?
That's
there
fine.
you go.
That'll
Add it to the collection.
That'll do, man. That'll do.
Yeah. That's right.
All right, you want to co-host the rest of the show with us, or you think 2 segments is enough?
No, gentlemen, I tell you, if you want your ratings to plummet, keep me on.
Go spend some time with your kids and your family, man. Congratulations. It was fun to watch yesterday, and we appreciate the time, Zach.
I appreciate you having me. Thanks, fellas.
You're in the herd. The Thundering Herd Podcast.
Steve Spurrier in studio with us right now. You would have liked to have been a part of that interview, huh?
I tell you what, Zach did it, didn't he? I tell you, it's amazing, the guy to get his ball in the hole. Jordan Spieth, Zach Johnson, you don't have to hit it 330, 350. Hit that wedge in there, and he made putts all week. And usually the guy wins is the guy that makes the putts.
That wasn't the case for you, though, out in Tahoe? What happened in the golf the celebrity championship?
He's been complaining about his golf game the entire break here.
My golf game has suffered this year. And, when you start playing not so well, it's no fun to go play.
Right.
85, it's no fun. So I haven't played as much this year. My wife Jerry said, if you're going to keep playing golf, you need to practice a little bit and go play and get some scores and so forth. But, it's always fun going to that Lake Tahoe event, and hopefully get a chance to. Herm Edwards was out there.
I imagine
you beat him, though, right? You beat him?
Yeah. I can't brag about beating Coach Edwards too much, but I did finish a little better than him.
I imagine Herm's very intense on the golf course. Is that fair?
No, I don't
really?
think so. I played with Brian Kelly this year, Notre Dame coach, and he played we were the only 3 coaches. And Brian's a good guy. We talked a lot of football and schedules and all that kind of stuff, but enjoyed playing around with him.
So you and Danny have some history, because when you walked in the studio, you guys embraced. You don't know me from a hole in the wall, which is fine, Coach. You shouldn't know me. I didn't play quarterback in college. But so I need to get to the bottom of this. When you were at Florida, you were recruiting Kanell and Danny Werfel. Did you choose Danny Werfel over Kanell, or did Kanell choose Florida State over Steve Spurrier?
Well, Danny Kanell committed first of the 2.
Okay.
And then Danny Werfel committed us a week or 2 later, is the way it worked out.
Okay.
They were stockpiled with QBs. That's why I went to Florida State. You guys had a
kid named Eric Crescent also there.
Okay.
And Eric was a really good player. And right before Eric's senior year, he said, Coach, I want to go play somewhere. And he had a chance to go transfer, and he went to Marshall.
Yeah.
They happened to have a guy named Randy Moss.
Yeah.
And they won the national championship at their level in '96. Yeah. And then he traveled down to New Orleans, and we were playing FSU, as it turned out, for the national championship.
Right.
So he saw his old teammates the next week win. So Eric Crescent got 2 national championships. That's pretty neat.
Now, who got to you first? Was it Bowden or Spurrier? Because, Bowden walks into your living room, and he charms the parents, and he starts talking about apple pie and all that. Like, you're done. It's done. Spurrier has no chance.
No, I really could not have gone wrong. And I know it bothers Florida State fans that I would say that, but if I would have gone to Gainesville, I would have been just as, had as much fun and had as much success.
Yeah, they need to go to different schools. And, in fact, the next year, we were actually recruiting Peyton Manning.
Wow.
And Danny Werfel was a redshirt freshman. Mm-hmm. And I remember our coach come in and said, Coach, Peyton's going to Tennessee. And I said, well, it's probably the best place for him, to tell you the truth, because Danny Werfel, we think, is going to really be a good player, and obviously Heisman Trophy, and he was a very good player. So if he and Peyton had been there at the same time, it wouldn't work.
Danny, I say this respectfully, but it kind of worked out well for Spurrier here. I mean, Heisman Trophy.
One of the most prolific passers in their school history. I think so, too. Coach, I think it's fascinating. We were talking before, college football fans are nuts, and I think it's really hard for them to envision what took place on the way here. How did you get here to Bristol, Connecticut?
Danny, the last 3-4 years, when we started this thing, I called Jeremy Foley, the Florida athletic director, and I said, how about dropping your jet in Columbia and picking my butt up, and I'll fly up to Bristol with Will Muschamp. So we did that, I think, 3 years, and then this year I flew up with Jim McElwain.
What's the conversation like?
Oh, we probably get along too well. I got a deal with the Gators. I pull for them every game, obviously, except when they play us. And a lot of them, I think, pull for the Gamecocks every game, except, of course, when they play the Gators. So we probably get along better than most coaches, to tell you the truth.
Coach, we were before you came in here, we were discussing Jimbo Fisher, what's going on at Florida State, and Jimbo came out recently and said, I'm responsible for FSU's recent issues. I think he's saying what a coach needs to say. I think it's impossible to track these kids 24/7. They've had a string of bad luck and some really bad stuff being done by some of his players, but I don't put the blame on Jimbo Fisher. How much accountability should a coach take over stuff like that in the entire program? It's got to be tough to monitor these kids on a 24-hour basis.
Well, I don't have the answer for all the rules. I don't know the rules all they have, but I know the rule I have.
Right.
If you ever hit a girl, punch, slap, or whatever, you're finished on my team.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that rule, and I've lost 2 guys in South Carolina 7 or 8 years ago. Fortunately, they were not star players. In fact, they weren't even starters.
Right.
So we quietly eased them out, and they transferred, went somewhere else, and all the guys knew. If you hit a girl or anything of that nature, you're gone. You're finished. So we haven't had any problems since.
But did you ever feel like it was on you? That, like, hey, the buck stops here,
Well, sure.
It's my fault?
Yeah, sure. You're pretty much responsible for everything they do. And you try to educate them, and you try to have your rules and enforce them.
How do you guys get back on track? 3 straight years. You had 11-plus wins. You guys had really going. And then a little bit of a setback last year. What's priority number 1?
Yeah, Danny, we, as you know, went 11-2, 3 years in a row, top 10. At this time last year, we were number 4 in the nation after the 2013 year. And I think we sort of falsely thought our defense was going to be good after we lost Jadeveon Clowney, Kelsey Quarles, both of them made an All-American, and Chaz Sutton. 3 defensive linemen, both our starting corners went pro. So we lost some really players that we did not replace very well. We were like 93rd in the country in defense. We only had 5 sacks all year, I think. Anyway, we didn't play near like we've been playing. Offensively, actually, we were about the same as the year before with Connor Shaw. Dylan Thompson set school record for passing yards. But we lost some close games. We couldn't hold a 2-touchdown lead in 3 games, and we struggled. But I want to give our guys credit. We fought back, won 3 of the last 4, and beat Miami.
Yeah.
I know you was pulling for us in that one, Danny.
That's right.
And I still got a little Gator in me. I was telling Stephen A. and Skip, during my playing days at Florida, they beat us 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
In fact, the last game in the Florida Field, wasn't a swamp pit.
Right.
They beat me my last game at Florida Field, 21-16. And then the only time I coached against them at Florida was the bowl game of after 2000 season. They had about 7 first-round NFL guys, and that was the year Oklahoma beat FSU in the Orange Bowl.
Right.
So Oklahoma won the national championship in both of them. So I hadn't had many wins over them guys, and I got one now.
Right.
So I'm 1-1. My coaching
I see you haven't let that go, by the way. That loss.
I'm 1-1, but the most important thing, our team was 7-6 and had a winning season.
Yeah.
A winning season is a lot different than a losing season. So we're a happy bunch. It really gave us a boost of energy throughout the summer, spring ball. Got some good recruits, got some good defensive guys that are really going to help us this year.
You've got a guy who's listed as a wide receiver, but he really should just be called playmaker. That's Pharaoh Cooper. How good is he?
He's one of the best I've ever had at that, Danny. Not only can he play wide out, he gets in the shotgun. He's actually our leading returning passer right now. Dylan Thompson played every snap except about 10 against Furman and about 10 against South Alabama. He went the distance in all the other games. And Pharaoh threw 2 touchdowns last year and threw for a bunch of other yards. So he's our returning receiver, returning passer, and probably yards per carry. He's probably the leader in that, too. Certainly should be a preseason All-American guy. He was preseason All-SEC. So, yeah, he's a big-time, wonderful kid.
Danny was, I don't want to say he was mocking, but he was definitely discussing the tie choice today. Now, for those of you who are listening on radio, hold on, there's some lobsters on that tie. Hey, there's some football players on that tie. There's a basketball on that tie.
I want to know if there's a story behind it, because most coaches come in with the school colors represented.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought I put the shirt on first, and I thought it went with the shirt. Okay. It
does. What did Jerry pick that out?
It was about,
I got a feeling.
I tell you what, it was about 100 degrees in Columbia when I left.
Right.
And I said maybe I'll go without the jacket today and show off this tie.
You know, Danny, I know what you're saying, because we had Saban in studio yesterday, and he had the Alabama jacket on. He had the matching tie.
That,
but I know that Steve doesn't roll like
something
that.
Something different. Stu, you know, sometimes you got to do a little something. A little something different. Just a little something different every now and then.
Well, I think you're different in a lot of regards. You've never been the coach who's going to spend 2 or 3 days straight at the facility, and you've said it. You've been public about saying it. You're going to enjoy your life. And I think that's refreshing. I think a lot of coaches, I've talked to a lot of coaches, where I don't want to say they're not enjoying their life, but they're spending way too much time in the office. You just have a different philosophy when it comes to that, don't you?
Oh, you're exactly right, Stu. You have to work hard. There's no question about that. But the coaches that spend the most hours in the meeting room or the tape room, there's a lot of fired coaches that said, man, I was there to midnight every night. So, you know, working smartly is what it's all about. And I think we get a lot done in lesser time. But the most important part of coaching to me is time with your players. That's when you can teach them, hopefully, what you want to do. And the most important part also is getting really good players.
Right.
You know, it's a recruiting game. There's no question the coach with the best players usually wins.
All right, Coach. Well, we appreciate the time. We know it's a busy day for you, and they're pulling you in a million different directions. When you're done with here, by the way, Danny and I can both recommend 5 or 6 golf courses right in the surrounding Bristol area if you'd like.
My golf season's just about over for this year. It wasn't a good season.
And now, for Geico's edition of Stuff Found in Your Car, we go inside your side door pocket.
Hello, yes, the crumpled receipt with gum in it. From your anniversary dinner, you sprang for expensive wine, your server was Beth. That dinner was a couple $100. Money you could get back if you switched to Geico and saved hundreds of dollars on your car insurance. I bet you'd save that receipt, frame it even. But really, where did I go wrong? Was it the corkage fee?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com today.
Jim McElwain, the head coach at the University of Florida, joins us now. He's in studio. Coach, thanks for spending some time with us today.
Well, great to be here, and I appreciate you guys taking the time.
So we're going to play a little bit of a game, and we discussed it during the break. So for those of you who don't know, Coach went to college with Colin Cowherd, who is normally the person sitting in this seat doing this show, but Colin is off, and again, he'll be back tomorrow. You guys went to
he actually probably just bailed out when he knew I was here. Right? Isn't that what it is?
Maybe he did.
Yeah, I get that. He'd have done that at Eastern, too. You know?
So you guys went to Eastern Washington University, and you knew pretty quickly that Colin was going to get into broadcasting. You'll tell that story in just a second. But the game we've created here is, because the coaches come here and they want to talk about their program and talk about their team and promote their program and promote their team. And I understand that, but we like to have some fun. I like to have some fun. So
I'm all talking about buddies, man. That's good stuff.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm good with that.
So here's the deal. For every question that you answer about what Colin was like, and we've solicited questions from our listeners via Twitter, for every question you answer about Colin and what he was like in college, Danny will give you a question about the Gators, your program, and all that good stuff. Is that fair?
So here, you know, and I always usually do this when I give my speeches and stuff, too, is I always say, you know, I'll go ahead and answer any question you ask. Any question.
Okay.
As long as it's not a stupid question. It's amazing how many of those boosters won't answer it. You know, hands down. Yeah, that's right.
Well, I got a page full of stupid questions sitting on my screen.
So we're good.
Just so
we're good.
Yeah. Like a page full of stupid questions. Now, which order do you want to do? I guess I'll go first. All
right, you go ahead.
All right. How many girls did you see Cowherd bring back to the dorm rooms?
Well, you know, first of all, I don't think I ever saw him really on campus.
Okay.
Because the guy spent the whole time in the rap ball gym, you know, up in the intramural gyms.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was in there every single day that maybe I was there too much too. Maybe that might have been something with it.
You saw him there.
And yet, you know what? He never had a problem on that part of it.
Okay.
Right, I'm dying to ask a follow-up there. But all right, we'll go on to the Florida game.
You want to ask a follow-up?
No, that's not the game. That's not the rules. That's not the rules.
Okay.
We'll go to this one might be deemed a stupid question, though. We'll go to it anyway. I like it because I'm an analyst. Who is going to be your starting quarterback?
Oh, geez, that away.
I'm going to drill you right
just right away. That's good. Well, I tell you what, we got 2 guys right now that had a heck of a spring, both in Treon Harris and Will Greer. And really what we'll be excited to see as a staff, you know, we had an opportunity to kind of see what they're good at. And we're not going to ask them to do something that we need to keep working on. So that evaluation now, as we go back and put what we're going to do in this August. I think the one thing that really shows in a great quarterback, the guys are the ones that move the football team. They aren't necessarily the greatest arm and all this, right?
Right.
And really, I'm looking for the guy who can figure out what color jersey we're wearing and throw it to the right color jersey.
It's a simple answer. How many times?
Pretty simple guy, Eastern Washington. Now. You got to remember that.
Okay.
Right?
Well, Colin's not. Colin's he's a complex guy.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
No, okay, I'm giving him too much credit.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen Colin high or impaired? I told you I had a page full of stupid questions here.
You can say no comment. I can say right there, we probably plead the fifth there, but you know what? I do know this, that place that we went to college was a great place, and there was a lot of fun had.
That's a good diplomatic answer. That's good coach speak right there.
I love how relaxed Coach is. Like, he's not sweating this at all. It's great.
Is Vernon Hargraves the best cover corner in college football?
That guy's unbelievable. And you know what separates him? And Danny, those guys that practice the way that he practices hard, he practices to perfect his craft, and he really takes, pride in that. And he's competitive. I just love the way he comes to work every day. And you know what? The guy can lock him down and obviously helps you on defense because you can eliminate somebody and do some other things that, could possibly give the other team some problems. So, you know what? He's something special.
Jim McElwain, the head coach of the University of Florida, in studio with us. All right, back to Colin. Colin's cheap alcohol of choice when you guys were at Eastern Washington University.
Okay, I can answer that with one really kind of simple deal. On sale.
Delicious. Was there a specific beer, though, that was Colin's, like, kind of, like back when I was in college, I would always get Keystone or Keystone Light. It was cheap. You could buy, 10 cases for, $10.
I think he was a true Rhinelander guy.
Really?
Yeah, look that one up.
Okay, I'm going to look that up.
They're 11.5-ounce stubbies. It was pretty good. Plus, you had some of the little puzzles in it, too.
All right. Well, I'll look it up while Danny asks you a football question. Okay.
How much did being in the SEC previously, how much easier does it make this transition back into that conference?
Well, having that experience is invaluable. And again, going through those 4 years, especially, some of the games we were in, and I think it's invaluable. And yet, it's really something you kind of missed, having been in it. And what I mean by that is that day in and day out preparation is something that you got to know that someone is always working, so you better be going, and that's what's exciting about it.
All right, Coach. Did Colin answer every question with a metaphor or social message?
I don't know where he got that. I really don't. Although, he actually was over there at Port Angeles area over there on the coast. So I don't know. That might have had something to do with it. Never seeing the sunshine. I don't know.
You're coming into a situation in Florida with the Florida Gators where the expectation is to compete for national titles. Mm-hmm. I get this question asked all the time as a college football analyst. What are realistic expectations for the Florida Gators this season?
Well, as a competitor, every day you go out to win. So what are the expectations? Well, first of all, that first game has nothing to do with anything. The first game is just another day in the life. It's really what you do every single day. And I always get a kick out of these countdown clocks.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Well, that doesn't matter, I mean, really, because the most important thing is the now. What'd you do today to get better for tomorrow? And really, that's kind of what we're trying to really, with our team, we're trying to kind of get across. It has nothing to do with running out of the tunnel at the swamp, which is an unbelievable deal now. But it's really what we did today to get better.
The amount of times you heard Cowherd talking to himself. Judging by your reaction often.
No, I'll recount the time that, then you got the Cubs in the afternoon and you got the Braves at night, during the spring. And, not that Cheney was one of those, dead towns, but, you kind of had to find your own deal when you're sitting there in Cheney, Washington, right? And, but at the same time, he used to turn down the volume, and he would call each game, all 9 innings in a different voice each inning. And it was really fascinating to see him work, and you could tell the guy really wanted to perfect his craft. He was fun to watch and fun to listen to.
I saw a stat in my prep this season for the Florida Gators. They haven't had a season where you guys have averaged over 186 yards passing since 2009.
Oof.
Now, in large part, that's from the quarterback play. But for me, I'm used to watching Gators historically with the great receivers coming through there with Coach Spurrier's offense and guys like Percy Harvin. Where are all the receivers on the Florida Gator roster? Or who will we hear about?
Find, right?
Yeah.
And yet, I think we've got a couple guys that we need to figure out how to get them the ball. We've got this thing on our call sheet. It's a get it to sheet. Now, you can't let them take it away. You've got to be able to move those guys around, shifts, motions, whatever it is, to allow them to get touches. And I always look at it, it's like as a quarterback, in your first date, you're always going to have something that's an easy layup, right? Just to kind of get your juices going a little bit. Well, same thing. These guys have to have X amount of touches. And when I say that, DeMarcus Robinson, Brandon Powell, are two guys in particular that have explosive playmaking ability. Now it's up to us to figure out, how we're going to get them in mismatches and get them the ball.
Has Colin always mispronounced the word always? Here's an example.
Always.
We might have been in that. We might have been in that same English class.
I was probably in the same one. I shouldn't be teasing. Oh, that's great. Are you out of Gator questions?
No, I mean, I could go all day, but I think we got to let them go, don't we?
Yeah, we do. So
when is it going to stop?
Just a couple of quick ones. Did Colin ever cheat on a test?
No.
Okay.
Bull.
Okay. Yeah, I'm calling bull on that.
Yeah.
Percentage of classes that Colin actually attended?
Enough to get a degree.
Was he neat or dirty?
Oh, he was neat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Did he always have a bowl of soup in his hand?
No, he didn't.
Always.
No, but a couple of his haircuts look like he got a free bowl of soup with him.
All right, last one on the way out. We appreciate that. We appreciate you having fun with us. Where did he tell you his hometown was? Because he's used 4 different hometowns on the air here at ESPN Radio.
So what is he claiming? Seattle still? What is he? He's not. Is that what?
Yeah.
No, it's out there, clear past that. It's a whale watching place. Actually, is where he's from.
Coach, we appreciate. Thanks for tolerating our nonsense. And,
guys. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
All right, great. Well, good luck this season. And my wife's a Gator, so she was thrilled that you were coming on today, and we'll be up in a couple of games this year.
Thanks so much.
You're in the herd. The Thundering Herd Podcast.
Earlier in the show, and thanks to all our guests today. They were great. Had a lot of fun today. Steve Spurrier, Jim McElwain, Field Yates. Wish we had Joe Flacco on. Thanks to Zach Johnson, who spent a couple of segments with us. That was the highlight of the show for me. I think for Danny as well. It was pretty cool to have him on today.
That was awesome.
Thanks to Josh Drew for getting that done. Speaking of Josh Drew, we were playing a game of voicemail poker earlier in the show. Who had the most impressive voicemail on their phone? Danny came in with, now this started with Vince, excuse me. Vince came in with Coach K, which is good, but not the winning hand, I don't think. Danny came in with Joe Montana, which is good, not the winning hand. Stanzik limped in with Scott Rowland from 2009, called him the next Mike Schmidt. That's a 2-4 unsuited, not even close, but he's, staying in the hand because he wants to see the flop.
Straight draw.
Straight draw. I limped in with Flea. I thought it was cool. It wasn't. You guys didn't really receive that one very well. You weren't impressed, so I'm kind of limping in with Stanzik here. And then John, I think, is our winner because he has Bill Cosby. Now, the timing on this is not exactly good for John, but he still has Bill Cosby on his voicemail.
Definitely better a few years ago.
And he also has a picture. But Josh Drew, now he's a guest booker for ESPN, so you got to factor that into the equation. But I think Josh Drew, so John's the winner right now with Cosby, but I think Josh Drew has the winner right here. We're going to play the voicemail for you because he has a voicemail that he saved from Charlie Sheen.
Hey, JD, it's Charlie calling. Sorry, can't find my voice. Time for a shower, a cup of coffee, and then get the tiger blood boiling. Last time was a disaster. I'm so mad. It's all right. I'm gonna change the format. Just make it me, just me alone. All this. Okay, cool. And then I need to talk to you today about fundraiser, and where to wire the money and people. Just me alone, me and the camera, nobody else. Okay, talk to you soon. Out.
That's amazing.
What is happening there?
That is amazing. You know what makes that the home run winner? Is that he said, "What's up, JD?" Like they're boys.
Wire the money, though? I think I need to. There's so much to dissect there, and I wanted to get to Tom Rinaldi's laughter after his interview with.
That is the most amazing voicemail ever.
I think I need to hear it again. I don't know if we'll get to the laughter. I need to hear it. We need to dissect this a little bit further. Let's hear Charlie Sheen again.
Hey, JD, it's Charlie calling. Sorry, can't find my voice. Time for a shower, a cup of coffee, and then get the tiger blood boiling. Yeah, last time was a disaster. I'm so mad. Sorry, I'm gonna change the format. Just make it me, just me alone. All this. Okay, cool. And then I need to talk to you today about fundraiser, and where to wire the money and get people. Just me alone, me and the camera. Everybody else. Okay. Talk to you soon. Out.
Okay, cool. Need a shower, cup of coffee, get the tiger blood going. What is going on with Charlie Sheen?
Winning.
That had to have been like during that. There was like that 6-month whirlwind of Charlie Sheen. That had to have been from that time.
Oh my God, that is classic. So
that was amazing.
Josh Frew wins, right? Like that's it. He's coming in with pocket aces, right? Like who's got anything better than that?
Scoreboard doesn't lie.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Vince, quickly, do we have Rinaldi with? Was it Peter Dunn?
Paul Dunn,
the amateur, who was tied for the lead. Danny, just tell me. Listen to this because I can't imagine Rinaldi really laughing this hard ever. So I maintain that this is fake laughter from Tom Rinaldi, who I love, and every time he talks, I cry. But he interviewed Dunn after the third round of the Open Championship, and I maintain that this is fake laughter. Let's listen to it.
You are presumably having a share of the lead to win the Open Championship with 18 holes to play. What's going to be the thought in your mind, Paul?
Make contact with the ball.
Can you isolate the laughter, Vince? All right, so what Dunn said was not funny. There was nothing funny about it. So
Hold on, but you basically fake laugh for a living.
I've made a career out of it.
I want to hear your fake laugh. No, wait, if you don't do it now, I want to hear it back.
All right.
That is as fake as it gets.
I just did it on cue. I
know Tom Rinaldi is the most genuine dude out there. He doesn't know how to fake it. That was genuine.
Let me hear it one more time. I need Rinaldi's quickly. Yeah, it's fake.